Today I'm going to talk about something that's going to piss off Silicon Valley. Yes, exactly. I'm going to create a couple of enemies off of this. The reason why, I'm not going to talk about an AI workflow that is worth $50,000 and not tell you that no, it doesn't cost you anything to implement it. It's your time, it's your effort. You don't have to go out and buy a fancy product off the map. Out there, you can get away with just doing these couple of steps and will be able to save you time. I'm tired of watching good companies fail and consultants getting very rich without telling you what some of these simple solutions are and how you can save a lot of money and how you can do exactly what I did. So 6 months ago, I was drowning. As a tech consultant here, we create technology. I work with about 15 clients in a given week. I'm trying to stay ahead of the AI curve. I've got a team of developers here with me that are doing this. I was working a number of hours, and let's say I put in a good 70 hours a week. That's just normal, entrepreneur, CEO of a tech company. But what I didn't want to do, started feeling like we were falling behind a little bit, and started looking at all these different tools. And then I realized it's not about the tools. What I discovered is not new technology, it's new methodology. So the methodology that you need to do is kind of change your mindset. So what I found is going to be best is I wanted to see how I can save just 10 hours a week and what I need to do that. So how can I use AI to double my output? And it ended up being that a lot of it is just off the shelf, Claude Perplexity and those type of things. And what I wanted to be able to do is also make sure that my clients are getting better results, meaning they're getting better work out of me. And what that's going to take is you thinking about what goes into the AI, what your desired outcome is, and how can I repeat that process. So let's say that I need to write up a quote, a report, these routine things. What is best to do is take your existing templates, put those in and say, how much time can I save by optimizing these? So part of that is the AI, part of that is just you thinking about what would happen if I can now save 10 hours a week and have more output to my clients. So ideally, a lot of people are trying to save like 20, 30 hours a week. My goal was just to save 10. And, for me, I'm looking to save, let's say, 500 hours a year. That's going to be, $75,000 easy worth of savings in found time. So let me show you how this works. So it's very simple. And there will be some links in the videos here if you need to go back to any of this. Definitely make sure that you follow along with this series to keep up with this, because this is part of a multi-part series. This is episode 3 here, and we have more stuff coming. But first, I'll get you the value that you're looking for from this video. So let's talk about who is the enemy here. It's not the enemy you think it is. When looking at this quest for me, it's not the technology. Of course, I love technology. It's not the competition. My competition are actually my friends in most cases. So it's not them. It's not time itself. It's not the clock. It is the biggest friction. Biggest enemy is friction. So friction comes into everything you do every day. If you can eliminate some of that friction, things are going to flow a lot better, a lot smoother. And every single day you're going to have, the less sand in the gears, the better things are going to flow. So let's just say that you're looking at things that you do very commonly. I find myself having to search through 50 documents to find one fact going back. The friction of repeating a process every Monday, make sure I've got some reports done. Having that more automated or totally automated is a great saver of friction. Let's look at something that is done for the 100th time. So those are type things. So I have certain reports I have to do with billing. I was able to eliminate by using some AI technology, something I'd done for almost over a decade. I was able to use some AI and automation and take that monthly task that I have to do the first couple of days of the month and take hours of that down to 0. So that saved me, 3-4 hours of a day there by going through and taking that process, automating it. Yeah, it's not totally AI, it's just more of the automation. So you got to really figure out whether it's going to be something that does need an AI, engine behind it, or is it just increasing the process and being able to eliminate some of those friction points to be able to automate where it's not killing the business. It's friction will kill a business very quickly. It slows things down. It causes extra heat. If you're talking about a metaphor of an engine, friction is a thing that causes the wear and tear in an engine. If you can eliminate that friction permanently, then you're able to get a much more efficient working model. So let's set up a real world scenario here. So 3 weeks ago, a CEO called me. Eric, need to understand the competitive landscape of our new product launch. My team said it's going to take 3 weeks. It's going to cost $30,000 for the research. I said, give me 30 minutes, and here's what I did. So it was one of those things that we're able to take our templates that we have, because we have done this for other clients, and be able to feed it through. So how was I able to turn around what his team said that they would do in this large block of time, but outside consultant do it? So I just simply took what I know about his business, which is quite a bit because he's been a client for a while. I've got research on his business, where he's been, and a lot of his data. So I opened up Google Deep Research. I typed in one paragraph about what he needs, uploaded the data about his particular use case of how his model and his business works. 20 minutes later, I had a 29-page report. And Google says it looked at about 300 sources to pull this together. Every competitor was mapped. It identified the cost. Let's say that it looked at the cost comparison across his competitors, where he was going. The cost for doing this type report probably cost me, $100 worth of time is what I had into this for him. And the output here was very similar to what he was going to pay an outside group $30,000. So that's a huge cost savings and puts him as a CEO of a company in a much better position. Helps us out, helps them out, because that efficiency is allowing us to do what we like to do, which is build a stronger business for him. This is the type of thing that you could also take and drop that to-do list and that competitive information into Notebook LM and be able to create an action item. I could foresee that you take a bunch of these items that it puts out there, even structure them to API into something like a Monday.com to have that task system that you now have. Here are the bullet points that we need to create, do, and come out of that. So you have that actionable steps. I would see that as very valuable. And trust me, that marketing group and research group was not going to do any of that automation for the $30,000. So here we gave him a very good cost-effective report that now we're able to help that business be stronger and with us for the long term. So that's how in, let's say, 30 minutes to an hour, we delivered $30,000 worth of ROI. So if my math is right, that's like a 1,500% ROI on that time. So now, where do you start with this? This is the biggest question that people hit me up with. So I'm not sure where we're going to start. What do we do? I like to start with what you have going into Excel today. So I'm going to use a fictional person. Let's talk a moment about Sarah. We might see Sarah in some of my other webinar presentations. But let's say that Sarah works in the marketing department of a SaaS company, and she spends about every day, she spends about 30 minutes putting data into the KPI tracking sheet, which is Excel. So she now takes all the analytics that they're doing and put that into a row into the sheet. And every couple weeks, it'll turn over into a new month. She has to copy that sheet, empty out some of the old data, put new data into it. Now, that's very time consuming. And what happens when Sarah goes on vacation? What happens to your KPIs? But the other thing is, by manually flowing your data and everything through Sarah, who Sarah's great. She's been working here a long time. She's got the time to be able to do this. But what could Sarah be doing when she's not doing that? So that's 30 minutes a day that she's putting in there. She could be also, she's part of the marketing team. She can probably be properly using AI to create video scripts for something like this and put your company out there better on YouTube. You can now be doing additional marketing analysis. So you can output more data by having Sarah's data automated. You can now increase your flow of the data and get more actionable data. So that's where a product like, just even straight ChatGPT can help Sarah out initially, but then analyze where that data is coming from, and can you use MCP with ChatGPT to pull that data? Is she pulling the data out of a source that is available and automatable to that spreadsheet? Even though you don't have coders necessarily, that might be something that's spending 2-3 hours exploring. It's going to be well worth your time on that. And here's my suggestion with this. You're probably working Sarah probably pretty hard. Have Sarah do some of this research. Have her watch the YouTube videos and look to see, is it possible? She knows this data. She knows the system she's pulling it from. Maybe if there's enough education time given there that she can spend and do some R&D, she can potentially replace some of the work that she's doing herself, keep an eye in control, and make her more efficient. Not for the purpose of eliminating her job, but for the purpose of automating the workflow, so she's not under such criticality when it comes to putting this together. And it is also that Sarah can go on vacation at some point. Here's the insider track for you. Don't try to automate everything. Work on automating what you do every day. So one thing that makes you think, is there a better way of doing this? Is this something that we can do with automation? Can we eliminate this? Can I get even, save that 1 hour a week to start and then iterate on it so that you can save multiple hours a week? 6 months from now, you're going to have an army of these AI assistants when you start off on the principle of, I'm going to automate this one little 1 hour task that is done very frequently. So start with the things that are very repetitive. The AI engines are very good at doing repetitive tasks. So quick poll, I want you guys to think about, how many hours did you spend on PowerPoint last month? So how much time did you end up putting the stuff into a board deck, into a presentation? I know a lot of companies are telling me that they're spending about 22 hours a month minimum. Let's see if you can cut that in half. So that's very, very doable. Copilot is a great way of doing it, but just also start thinking about how you structure your data to go into an LLM chatbot to help you create your PowerPoint. Don't think about having it create all the slides right now. Just have it think about it creating the content for you, massaging the data, and giving you the recommendations and say, I want this data displayed in 7 pages and have it slice it up. You could also have it output it in like an HTML type slide deck to start with. What you want to do is start finding ways that you can use the LLM to better. So just as I recommended Sarah do an hour worth of research a week on how to better use the LLMs, do the same. Every executive should be looking at how to spend an hour. I spend a couple hours. I probably spend about an hour a day. I said earlier I work about 70 hours a week. I would guess that I am researching and discovering how to better use the AI technologies at least 1 hour, 7 days a week, if not more. So that's something to think about. But the PowerPoint is kind of our bane of all executives, all management existence. So that's a very good way to help get you some efficiencies, is to work on how to automate some of that and also get better product out to your board when you are having to put this together. I mean, I know the last presentation I had to do, I think I budgeted about 40, I think I saved about 45, I budgeted that it was going to take me about 4 hours and I spent about 45 minutes. So that's a great time saving right there. And I'm sitting here with, 3 hours of extra time in my day. That's a great productivity boost. So here's what nobody told you about AI productivity. It compounds. So when you save 2 hours on research, you're not just getting 2 hours back, you're getting 2 hours that you can think strategically about your next steps. So that's where it's a very much a multiplier. I always say AI is great at taking the negatives and making it more negative, but if you can add positives, you're pushing those positives into AI. It's also a multiplier and will make your positives more positive. That's where it's going to be a generator. When you speed up presentation, you're not just finishing faster, it's letting you iterate, it's letting you improve, it's letting you not just get done in that by that deadline, it's letting you get a better work product. So it's more winning, and that's what we're looking for. I mean, as a CEO, I look to win, and that's one of those cases where AI can help us win. So that's a good way of doing it. So I'm going to give you another use case here. So we're going to talk about a fictional guy named Michael. I have a lot of friends who work in the technology space. So Michael is a CTO of a credit union. He is skeptical as hell about AI. Getting him to start with the first tool has been problematic. He's very much, I don't want these bots taking over the world, but finally convinced him to use just one. So, and we started looking at some research automation for the type of stuff that he's doing. He's trying to put his budget together for 2026. So I said, okay, let's see what you can do. So, and he reported back to me. Using Perplexity and using it to help research the budget spend that he needs to do for 2026, the first week he saved 5 hours. So that's a great win right there. Him saving 5 hours off of his week gives him back a little bit more of time. He's been using it now for a couple weeks. He's up to using 3 tools, more day to day now, and he's probably going to hit about 50 hours in the month of November in time savings by implementing a couple tools. Now let's multiply that. So he's on the target right now where he is going to implement a couple of these tools into the workflows that he's doing, and was probably looking at for 2026 going into it of saving 300 hours. Well, you work 40 hours a week if you work 40 hours. So a 300 hour savings off of 40 hours is a great savings. But here's a real kicker. He was trying to find somebody else to come on to his team and work side by side, knew that was going to take a lot of management approval to get another hire in and the time to train him up. He is actually now able to do more and may not have to hire that second person to be on that team, and can deploy him doing more automation. So he has gone from somebody who in just a couple of weeks was a detractor or somebody who was very against AI technology to somebody who is now saying, hey, I can take my AI budget and increase it small amount and keep the same amount of output and reduce some of our cost. So this is definitely turning into a win-win. I did say to Michael, the real thing that we need to do is figure out how to get things so automated that you can take a Friday off. If you know anything about credit unions, that is kind of the big lift. If you can take a Friday off in a credit union situation, you are running very, very automated. So that means that you now are at that pinnacle pace, and you're able to automate enough that you're not having to worry about everything going on, because now you can just check your phone when you're off playing golf on a Friday afternoon. Not something most people in small credit unions get to do. So a lot of people will, that I work with say this phrase, and I hear it all the time. Time is something you can buy, but is one of those things that everybody is telling me, we're running out of time. I need to show, I need to get these 4 more tools implemented. They're absolute game changers. And the problem is that's how you feel when you're about to buy those 4 new tools. I'm not sure why, in previous podcasts and webinars here, I have shown how many there's 200 tools in any given moment that are kind of the movers and shakers of the AI space. And kudos to Silicon Valley for pumping out a couple every week that are game changers. Love the fact of the innovation, but getting the data to them and actually having them implement and be game changer for everybody. It's actually only about game changer for about 15% of the people who buy them. A lot of people put them and are not able to get the full value. They're get a very good curve at great efficiency. Oh, it's not working out. So let's look at some tried and true tools. If you're not using Claude today, that's one I definitely want you to pick up. So I talk a lot about ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity, as well as Gemini and a few others. It depends on the use case, but Claude is a good, well-rounded one. So if you're working with spreadsheets and PowerPoints, use this tool to review your spreadsheets, have it make it look a little bit better, have it create you, great looking content. It is one of those that if you spend 60 seconds working in Claude, it should be able to save you about 30 minutes worth of time. So for every minute you are working with it, and think of it as an assistant. So you are delegating to Claude to come up with these elements, and that is how you're going to get these time savings. But if you got something you do every Monday, look to see how you can save a prompt, save your data that you're going to push into Claude and have it come out with this report. So if it's something, let's say you're having to review from other departments, or you're having to put something together to go up to the private equity firm, if you can cut your time down, that little bit you're starting with Claude is going to amplify over time. So hopefully you're getting 4 hours worth of time savings back out of it. It is one of those, I know even my HR department here is using it a lot and is saving time with it. So HR is able to utilize it, make sure you're not putting sensitive information into the LLMs. We also use a number of local LLMs and private instances ones for the type of work that we do. That's even much better. I have it here doing these scripts. So this is something that I iterate with the LLM and make sure that I have the work product here that I need to put on camera to educate you on how to use these LLMs. Of course I'm using, and Claude is the one that is going to help me put it together. I will tell you a funny story on this one here. It and I did have some arguments. So it disagreed with some of my tone, some of my logic, and some of my language that I want to use today. So it is kind of funny that sometimes they are developing a personality, and a lot of times they are going to be, oh, this is great. But it didn't want me to use a particular hook, or it didn't want me to use particular language, and it disagreed with some of the information I'm putting in. Part of the reason is Claude is not as hooked to the internet as some of the others. Perplexity is better, and so is Gemini, at stuff that is current. So when I was trying to have it do stuff that is current to this week in large language and everything, Claude was thinking about how things were 6 months or a year ago, because that's what it was trained on. But that's just some of the growing pains you have when working with the LLMs, on a regular basis. So the other thing we'll talk about here is, what are some secrets that separates the winners from everybody else? That's again, it's not about the tool. It's not about an individual tool. It's more about the mindset. So Notebook LLM is one that I hear talked about all the time. I'll be honest, I don't use it. I've used it 5 times. I can go out right now and there will be a dozen things saying that because this is a webinar and a podcast, you have to be using Notebook LM. I didn't like the content that was coming out of it. It didn't sound like me. It is trying to put together a flow, and is trying to do things, and it wants me to have somebody who I'm the dominant alpha and there's a beta that I'm interacting with, and it for some reason was programmed to have that mindset when doing a podcast, and I could not get it to come out of that. It's part of how Notebook LM and Gemini talk to each other, and we even tried I think it was called Chat Baits or something of that nature. Don't quote me on that particular application, but that was meant to do this type of work, but it didn't fit the output that I was looking for. I don't need line by line script. I'm slightly dyslexic. If I had line by line script, I couldn't follow it to begin with. I have to have bullet points and ideas that I'm going to talk about. And that's probably how a lot of you operate. You don't want to be told what to say. You just want to have that information that's going to help you put together that work product. I mean, that's really the brutal truth of this, is that we are trying to make these large language models fit how we are, and that's difficult. It's trying to add humanizing the LLM. I also realize that half of you are listening to this will probably not do 99% of what I say the first 10 times I say it, but if you take even just a couple minutes of this webcast, webinar, video podcast, whatever you want to call it, and can implement a couple things from this, you too can get back some of that time. If you don't do anything with this information, it's just kind of like having a great article sitting on the desk, whereas the implementation of this is going to be the important piece to it. And if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm forever interacting with people on LinkedIn, especially if you instant message with me. Sometimes I do get a little bit backed up. I have some weeks where I get a large number of followers. Like last week, I think I had like 130 new followers come in, and half of them want to say hi, and some of them are asking questions. So I do get a little bit backed up on this, but I will answer 100% of them. It might take me a little more time. I am also using technology to help me score and answer the same question 10 times, as well as take those spammers who are just trying to ask me to buy something, which is the most annoying thing and is not where we need to be using large language models. If you think that you're going to use the LLM to help you bully people into more sales, that is not something that's going to work, because there's people like me who are also writing LLM models to block that stuff. That's one of the things I have done very efficiently in my own inbox, is I categorize, and I have a bot that is watching my mailbox and is taking the people I've never talked to are deprioritized in my inbox. Now in LinkedIn, I do look for them because I like reaching out and talking with new people. But that is an area where I've been able to cut down to probably about 10% of my workload of going through my inbox. I have multiple inboxes, some that are higher priority, and it is able to flag things that I need to do and bring them up as a priority. So that is a great use of some of the large language models and off-the-shelf technology that doesn't take a whole lot to to build on that, and it gives you that competitive advantage, because that's what we're all looking for as CEOs and CTOs. We're looking for how can we outdo not just our competitors but the other people out there. We don't want to fall behind. And every day that you're not implementing new automation technology, I hate to say it, you're falling further and further behind. What you don't want to do in the tech world right now is take steps backwards. We were working with a company that decided to unplug a number of things, and that were some automations, and go backwards. That's probably not a smart thing to do in 2025. In 2026, I think it's going to be deadly. It's one of those elements that, yes, you might put in some tech that doesn't work 100%, but you're better to fix, iterate, and then move forward. What you don't want to do is put in tech here, make a small step backwards, and then another step backwards and another step backwards, because now look at that distance to get back forward, because your competitor has edged up. It's the tortoise and the hare. You don't want to be the one that is pooped out and pulling the plug in the case of the hare there that ran fast and then fell apart. So you want to make sure that you're making those small iterations and improving on top of improvement, kind of like compound interest. Listen, I know that change is hard. I know that your IT department is going to resist. Legal, let's not even get us started on what legal is going to say about putting in a lot of new AI technologies. The board is demanding it to be into the budget. The board is also probably looking that you get some good results. Here's what you got to watch. There's been a lot of people burned with the technology promises. We've talked about how 85% of the companies are not getting ROI from their AI initiatives. 15 are. This is a bit different. I'm not looking for you to replace people. What I'm looking for you to do with the AI technology, and I'm very much here to help you, and our company is here to help you if you want to talk with us. We're talking about amplifying them. So we're talking about taking the humans that you have and let them do the human things. Let them be creative, let them create strategy, let them create, the relationships, let them be out in the field talking one-on-one with the clients. Let them keep doing that, but take that repetitive work and eliminate it. Do your best to eliminate the TPS report that has to be filed manually in triplicate and in the locations every Friday afternoon, and preventing them from leaving the office at a reasonable time. AI likes the boring stuff. And that is where AI needs to come in. The future is coming, and it's coming very fast. Right now, the only question is, are you going to be one of those companies that are embracing the future? Or are you going to be ones that are still stuck doing the TPS reports? So I have a prediction. 20 years from now, there's going to be two types of companies. Those who embraced AI and were able to be early adopters. I also think that a lot of those company names are not ones that are household names today. I think there are going to be a lot of newer companies that you have had come that have had some slow, steady growth that are going to be the giants of tomorrow because they have built AI foundations inside of them. Then you're also going to have the companies who didn't. And those are the ones that we're going to be talking about and be talked at as case studies in business schools for years and years to come. Which story do you want to tell? Do you want to be that person who tackled David, who tackled Goliath by coming up with a great AI strategy inside your four walls? Do you want to be that CEO that I was talking to the other day about? How am I going to have my business in 5 years be a pinnacle in our space and in our region of AI technology? Or are you going to be that laggard who says, I'm not going to embrace it, we're just going to keep doing everything manually? That's really the question. What story do you want to tell? If you guys want to tell the story of being that AI innovator, feel free, hit us up on LinkedIn, hit our link on the page below, on the links below. Talk to us. We're here, we're working with a number of companies. The great thing is, I don't want to tell you how you should do it. I want to tell you how you can do it because we've done it. We implement AI technology every single day. Before getting on this and recording this podcast, we released code to 2 clients that was AI assisted, AI QA'd, AI partially developed. The stored procedures still are not even close. So that's where the humans have to come into play. We're talking about big data sets. We save time, our clients save times, they're innovating, we're innovating. We have these Lego blocks that we use that give us a added advantage over most companies, and we're US based and can talk with you, come meet with you, sit with your team and figure out the best way to move you forward. So that's something we definitely do. I'm now going to take some questions. I got a lot of questions I see coming up the screen here. I have a few minutes to take some of these, so let's take a quick pause here. I'm going to read some of these questions and then have you give you guys the answers. Feel free to type them into the chat and let us know what you're thinking. Okay, so I'm seeing a number of questions, getting a little bit of feedback here, but yeah, it seems like some good ones coming in here. Let's see. First one on the screen here. This seems too good to be true. What's the catch? Yeah, that's what everybody asks, especially when it comes to AI. The biggest catch is that there isn't one. I mean, these tools are enterprise ready. Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, they're investing billions in these tools. You're right to be skeptical. But what I want you to think about is your competition. If you're evaluating today and a little skeptical on, your competition is 3 to 6 months ahead of you on their implementations. So you may not want to hesitate too long. You do want to take it cautious. There is a good chance that they stub their toe on their first implementation. But what you do want to do is not be sitting on the sidelines going, this AI thing is just a fad. It's not a fad. There are definitely enterprise companies that are making great gains. I know we see it in our business that you're able to make great gains by putting these type of tools in place. So make sure that you are making strides to move forward on it. I know that from the clients we've worked with, we've seen about a somewhere around 30 to 40% gain by using some of these in those departments, not across the whole org, but in the departments that we're touching in the first 30 days. We've also seen, if we look back at the ones we've put these tools in place, about 40% of the employees are happy love the tools, love where they go. So that's in the 30 days. It takes a little bit longer on the adoption. I think that number is going to be double that when you are looking at 60, 90 days out. But it is one of those that nobody says that this is awful. We need to undo what you're doing here when you're properly installing AI tools. So yeah, that's something to think about. That is, make sure you stay ahead of the competition. Next question, also uber important. This is a high priority question. What about security and data privacy? Yeah, it is something you definitely need to think about. Your HIPAA compliance, your SOC 2, all of that. I will tell you, your off-the-shelf version of ChatGPT is not as compliant as I'd like to see it, but ChatGPT Enterprise has a SOC 2 Type 2 certificate with it. It's got some zero-day cyber protection inside of it, as well as it has a HIPAA compliant option. But be very careful on that. You got to make sure you get them signed to BAA. They're very slow at doing that. They also have a lot of requirements. They try to flip that monkey from being on their back to your back. So watch that with ChatGPT. Google Workspace AI is ISO 27001 certified, and has got some good compliancy there. I would go Google if you're going to go GDPR and need to be working in Europe. That's when I would look there. Claude for Business, don't put a lot of your compliant data into it. It's got good audit logs. I don't know the status. I don't believe they've got a BAA option for HIPAA. I don't think they've got a SOC 2 that they're publishing. Microsoft is probably your safest to use Copilot, only because if you are in that space where you've got a BAA with them, and everything you're doing with your M365 security policies are going to apply to it. So that's kind of your safest one. But a lot of big companies, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Mayo Clinic, a lot of these big name companies are using it. Just because they're using it doesn't mean they're secure. It just means that they do have the compliance officers of these big guys making sure that the technologies are pretty tight and as tight as they can be day to day. So let's see here. Our team. Okay. So the question came in, our team won't adopt this. We've tried new tech before. So here's what I'd say on this. You're right. Mandate adoption never works. So trying to shove it down somebody's throat. What I would do on this, and it's some of what we do inside, my four walls, is I like FOMO, fear of missing out. So what we will do there is we have a company lunch day. Typically, it's Tuesday. That we have a lot of the employees are in the office that may work remote. We always have our base staff here. And we get together and do lunch and learns, and we'll have some people remote into that. So it is something that is able to be seen by the company. Sometimes it is focused on stuff for the design side and creative side. Some of it's design for the people on the tech side. But what you are doing there is you're taking the wins that a given department has had and showing it off, and you're getting that fear of missing out from the others going, oh, they're getting all this. How they do that? We buy some pizza, we buy some Bojangles, maybe Chick-fil-A, and that gets more people to attend the meeting, as well as you have them bring your laptops and can try out some of the tools. It's about getting those early adopters. So when you get somebody who is in your four walls, it's an early adopter and can show it off, that really helps. And what I like to do with it, I'm gearing up for another one here, is I'm going to take somebody who is one of those early adopters who has really expanded what they're doing, in this case with the Claude coding tool, and have them run the lunch and learn on the next one, so that they're teaching their peers the things that they need to do. So the way to make FOMO really work with employees is going to be, it has to be shared and put on to like your Slack and your Teams. Look at this great stuff we're doing with AI. And then say stuff like, kind of make it seem like a little bit, it's kind of a little bit of a click. So these 5 people, I'm piloting this for this project and this small team of people. I've even done it with a team of 2. that are working together, co-deving with AI dev tools as the secondary co-devs on that. Also, you can make it a little bit competitive. I mean, just by having a couple people working out, you do see that they are trying to get the best automation and see if they can get things like, GitHub CI/CD tools to be totally written by AI so that it's able to manage some of the check-in, check-outs on its own and get that. And those are things that in our organization that save us time. So if my developer is going to spend a half a day on working on something that's going to save them an hour every single day, that's a very valuable ROI on that. So what you're looking for is, the first week, get your early adopter. Second week, get, maybe go from 2 the first week, 5 the second. What you're looking at there is to try to get a big adoption pool by day 90. That's really where the best things come from it. Let's see. This one here. What's the actual cost? What's our ROI timeline? Okay, well, I was just talking about ROI timeline. ROI timeline also depends on your labor cost and what repetitive task you have. So let's say that you've got a team of 50 people. I'm going to guess that, based on 30 bucks a user. So you're going to expect that for 50 users, you're going to be spending $1,500, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, or Google Workspace. It all depends on your O365. You may be able to do things there, but again, that's a little bit more limited on the automation today. It's great from security, but it's also a little limited on how you can do some of your more robust MPC type stuff. So I would budget probably $1,500 at your start. There might be cases where you're going to have some users that, especially while you're prototyping, you have some that are on ChatGPT and some on Copilot at the same time, and maybe Claude. So if for a lot of companies, if you're going to run a local LLM, I'm going to tell you to budget $5,000 for that server. If you're going to use these open while you're in that beta testing pilot period, put in $4,500 a month as a budget for 50 employees. That's going to be the safest to allow you to, have a little bit of wiggle room there if you find that you need to explore with a couple others. ROI aspect of that. Most companies are going to save off of a person. When you get this fully implemented, especially in a finance department or something, it's not unreasonable to get 8 hours of time savings for an employee per year. So when you take that fully weighted cost, so don't just take what that person's salary is, throw salary, throw your benefits, throw your government portion of that, throw your healthcare. So let's say that your fully weighted cost and what your onboarding is, that could be up to $120 per employee. Take 8 hours a week. So you're going to take 1/5 or 20% of that person's salary as a return on investment. Most of the projects that we have worked on and have rolled out this type of implementation of high automation and time savings, the numbers get really big on their ROI. It's rare that we're in a 100% ROI. Most of the time, it is going to be at the 3.5 weeks of development, which is kind of costly when you're paying, developers like us to do it. But most of the time, your ROI on that has been like 2,000% if you factor it over the year. So it's not uncommon to get really high ROI, which is why companies are doing this, why so many companies are taking these on. So next question here, I think this might be our last one. We don't have a bunch of techs. We have hardly any techs. People, how can we implement this? That's perfect because, we are listening to a webinar by tech people. So we are here to help out on this. If you are not tech people, and let's say that your 67-year-old CFO can't keep up with the workload that is already going on. Your people are already stressed on trying to get the month closed and getting all the data pushed through. Yeah, it's not going to be worth you watching hours and hours of YouTube videos to try to figure this out on your own. You're going to be best to have a tech person. if you've got some younger tech people, I sorry to be ageist on this, but they do pick up tech easier, then you may be best to give them some leeway. Now, make sure you got some good guardrails around it, because you don't want to let the data into the wrong places and what is going to happen on your test data. Normally, that's where I'm going to say have a CIO in the company, or security person. But if you don't have that tech, you got to get somebody that's going to oversee that governance around it and make sure you do it. But it's not bad to have a couple of interns play with a chat GPT, and start some of your initial setup. Maybe create a custom GPT that is meant for your system. So it's one of those that also, I've been very surprised at what I've been able to teach people to do once you do something like a custom GPT, and how they're able to pick it up. So I know somebody who I put the Chat GPT app on her phone, and she's not super tech savvy, and kind of hates tech sometimes, thinking that tech hates her. And I showed her how she can ask it questions about the financial situation. And what they did is we put their files into a project folder, so it's got some baseline on it, so that she can not ask details about the finances, just ask some what if type questions. And now she's building her own prompts. So she has been, she started off asking a couple questions via voice, then she went to typing. Now she's writing out prompts to go into more stuff and asking the questions. What if I upload this document? What if I put this data in? And now iterating on what can come back out of Chat GPT. So that's very encouraging, but it means anybody can do it. It's going to be what your appetite is for that. So my final question here, I feel I have to go a little bit long on this one. This one just popped up. What if AI replaces our jobs? Yeah. So by you watching this, it's unlikely that AI is going to replace your job. AI won't replace you if you know how to use the tools. So there's a famous phrase that someone using AI can definitely replace somebody's job who doesn't know how to use AI. That becomes crystal clear every day in a lot of spaces. I would say in most companies, those who are adopting the tools and able to deliver a higher level of performance is ones that are less likely to be replaced out. Now, when it's commodity jobs, if I'm sorry, if you're someone on a call center, or a live agent, or somebody who triages tickets, those are the type of jobs that AI is very easy at replacing those. And I do think we're going to see some of that. But just as the tractor didn't replace all farm work, AI is not replacing all knowledge work and all work. So keep your skills up. And the other thing is, look for what you can do in your knowledge repertoire to make sure that you have the most up-to-date skills. And what I want to do, and what I want to encourage, especially CEOs and operators of businesses, look to make the boring work disappear in an organization, because nobody likes doing that boring work. Talk about the TPS report, that silly reporting type stuff that needs to be done. Have a system pull that together, build that single pane of glass and dashboard. I was on a big national webinar this week with 1,000 people talking about single pane of glass and what value it is when you have that inside your business. But the people that pull that data together today in Excel sheets, that needs to be replaced. Look at the strategic work that can be done in your business to better do analysis on taking this data from this system and this system and mashing it together to give you a better blueprint of where it's going. When you take away that repetitive work that people don't like doing, or that is the frustrating type stuff, and you make it streamlined, it actually increases the job satisfaction, and it makes you as the employer enjoy working with that employee more, because they have higher productivity, higher satisfaction. They're people you want to keep in the organization. So I felt that was an important one to answer. I know this has been a long night here, and hope everybody got some good value out of this. thank you so much for firing questions. If you are watching this after the video runs live here uh, on Wednesday night, feel free to hit us at sales@wte.net, any questions or anything you might be thinking about, or hit us on LinkedIn. So that's a good way to fire the questions there. And look forward to seeing you next month when we do another one of these. Thanks, everybody.